There you go. Hey, if you've got a cell phone, do me a huge favor, please. Got to get you to check that ringer on that. Preferably off or silent or something. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order, and we're going to start with a pledge to our flag, and then a moment of prayer. We'll get started. Tony, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Father, we call upon you again tonight, Lord, asking for your guidance, wisdom. Lord, I pray that anything said or done here tonight will find favor with you. Lord, I thank you especially for those that have turned out and are being a part of our local government. I pray, Lord, for their safe return as they depart here tonight. Forgive us of our sins, Lord. We love you, and for anything that we do, we'll be careful to give you the praise for it. In your name we ask it, amen. Amen. So, at our last meeting, we kind of changed up the format. We won't be looking at minutes from our previous meeting tonight. We'll catch those at our next one. And we made a few other subtle changes, so we'll talk about that when we don't get to it. What I'd like to do tonight, though, and I know everything's important that we talk about, but one of the more enjoyable and one of the important things that we get to do tonight is recognize a couple of exceptional people. We won't call them quitters, but I do want to identify them, and I want to recognize them tonight. We have our 911 director and assistant director that have decided enough is enough, and we really appreciate David Camp and Ricky Higgs. Appreciate everything about them. I've been here just a little over 2 years, which is less than a tenth of the time that they've been here, so I'm not going to break the record, I assure you. I admire the public service, first of all, and when I think of both of them, I'd like them to turn to very quiet professionals and go about their job very steady. And over the years that they've been here, they've provided the means, the lifeline, if you will, between citizens and whatever emergency service is that is needed, whether it be fire, rescue, EMS, law enforcement. They and their team have provided that, and they've done it really well. Ricky is kind of one of them behind-the-scenes guys. Hard to get a word in edgewise around him. David's he's the front man, though. And listen, I couldn't help, I'm a 70s guy. I like music from the 70s. And there was a group back in the 70s, for those of you that would humor me, they were the Spinners. They sang a song called Rubber Band Man. Those are your two rubber band men right there. Duct tape, bubble gum, rubber band, pretty much whatever had to happen to make it keep going. And I just hope they left directions with Brennan where all of that is and how many times to chew it before you put it on. So, but I appreciate the job that you've done, the way you provided the service, and I appreciate your friendship. I appreciate the example that you set for your character. And what I'd like to do is we have something we'd like to present, and if I can get you both to come forward, I'll join you right here, And, but before you sit down, I'd like if y'all could say something. I know it's gonna be tough, but, if I could though, and then of course, Zach or anybody, if you'd like a picture or whatever, get these two while they're still here though. So if I can get y'all to come up here just for a second, okay?
Come on, Rick.
Yeah, that's right. If you got rubber bands, don't be shooting this.
No problem.
Things used to be shot around school real good.
Yeah, I heard that. All right, I'm gonna do it this way first, if you don't mind, Rick. I'm gonna kiss
Okay.
David, and then I'll.
You gonna kiss me?
Yeah, yeah.
Kiss me.
No. Yeah, there won't be a picture of that anywhere.
Yeah, don't get that.
Yeah. What we have is a plaque though, and I'll read it real quickly though, and this doesn't in any way really represent what, what their service meant, but, we hope that when they look at it, it might bring back some good memories and certainly some of the relationships you've made. Now, I'm gonna ask them just to tell us in a minute how long they've been on the job, but this is presented to David Kemp. He's the Madison County 911 Director, 1998 to 2019. Thank you for your extraordinary knowledge and leadership as Director of this vital public safety department. With honor and sincere appreciation for 21 years of dedicated service to the citizens of Madison County. And I'm gonna shake your hand and hand that to you. And thank you very much. Let me go ahead and hand him his, and that way I can get out of your way and let y'all do what y'all do, okay? Okay. This is to Ricky, and again, probably should have made it bigger. I know our eyesight didn't what it was, but yeah. This is presented to Ricky Hicks, Madison County Assistant 911 Director. And again, thank you for your extraordinary knowledge and leadership as Assistant Director of this vital public safety department, 1997 to 2019, with honor and sincere appreciation for 22 years of dedicated service to the citizens of Madison County. So, sir, thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate that. And I would like for y'all to please say a few words.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Who said it like Rick?
Well, I want to thank the Board of Commissioners and all previous boards that have served while we've been in operation, all the support that we've gotten from y'all, because that's where the money comes from. Somebody said the only reason David shows up at the commissioners meeting when he wants money. So it's probably true too. But yeah, I want to thank y'all. I want to thank the first responders, fire and rescue, EMS, law enforcement, medical first responders, coroner's office, all of it that makes it all come together. We have thoroughly enjoyed serving with you and learned a lot from you. We appreciate it. I also want to thank the citizens of Madison County that have allowed us the opportunity to provide service to them over the last 20 and 21 years. Especially I want to thank the dispatchers. You see, none of them showed up tonight.
Irene did. Irene showed up.
Yeah, that's right. She's a former dispatcher. The thing about dispatchers is they can't show up sometimes at things because truly they are the most important people that you will ever see. We have a saying over at 911 that your worst day is our every day. Trust me, if you're a seasoned dispatcher, you've pretty much heard it all. So it is their challenge to not let the routine become routine. And they do that very well. And I've been very proud to serve with them. And I also want to thank Ricky, who I would be lost without when I first came here. Ricky knew this county like the back of his hand. I didn't know anything about Madison County, so he was a big, big help for me in getting the center up and going. And last but not all, I want to thank my wife for all the nights, all-nighters, sometimes 3 days in a row, not coming home because of snowstorms and things like that. So I appreciate it. I sincerely appreciate this. Thank you all very much.
Well, as John said, I'm the behind-the-scenes guy, so David's covered most of it, so there's not a whole lot left for me to say, but I've enjoyed working here. Appreciate the commissioners and the past commissioners for allowing me the opportunity to come here and stay 22 years. I never thought that I would stay here that long, but time flies, I guess. As you say, we've and it's like David said, we're the two standing here, but without the dispatchers and the other groups, the fire departments, EMS, first responders, the ambulance service, coroner, the sheriff's office. You can go on and on with the public safety, but it's a group thing. It's not two guys, and Brennan and his staff now will take over, and no doubt in my mind they'll do an exceptional job with it, and it'll carry on just like it's always been. So we do appreciate the citizens, and we've tried to treat everybody like a human being and be fair with them, and we have made some mad and we have made some happy. But that's just one of those things. And like David and Miss Funny, I appreciate you being there every night when I did get home, at least having something to eat and try to get me to bed, go back the next day. But thank you very much for the plat. Enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate y'all.
As an added surprise, we'll let you stay if you want to.
We appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you, David.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, and for all those that showed up, thank y'all for supporting them too.
You got something in your eye?
Yeah, probably a good time to remind you, as you leave, can I get y'all to head to the door you came in, please? That tall deputy at the end will take exception to the left, to the other direction. Yeah, your other left. There you go. There we go. That's it. Sorry.
I never heard that before. No, I never heard that.
All right.
That's funny. I never heard that.
All right, well, we're going to continue on. Our first portion of the meeting is going to be to hear the hearing and actions on rezone matters, special use permits. We're going to hand it over to Chairman Houston.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners and attorneys and recorders. Good evening to everybody. The first one on the agenda tonight is the final plat approval for the Woodbury subdivision on Piedmont. The planning and zoning vote was a vote of 7-0 to recommend approval of the final plat for the Woodbury subdivision. 7-0.
Anybody have any questions of either Lamar or Mr. Butler?
Yes, sir.
There you go, Ned. Any questions from any of the commissioners regarding the plat?
Yes, sir, I got a question. Out of all the lots that's on here, out of the 65, I think there was only about 18 or so that could handle a standard septic tank design. Did that give any concern to anybody about the the expense or and I shouldn't even say the expense, I guess the technical components of the drip systems and the aerobic treatment systems most people just not concerned with that, and they don't know how to handle it, they don't know how to deal with it.
I have no idea.
There's not a lot of land mass there to make mistakes.
Right. Ned Butler, Reliant Homes, 574 Conyers Road, Loganville, Georgia. The way that the health department is reviewing the plats now is if there is any part of soil on that lot that would require a drip system or an ATU system, they put a note on there as a CYA. So it depends on where we put the house and where we put the septic lines as to whether a conventional system, drip system, or an ATU would be required. We only have concerns, probably honestly, of about 12 lots that will not be conventional systems. For example, I think lot number 1, there was one corner of that lot that had a system that would not allow for a conventional septic tank. So as long as we don't run the lines over in that corner of the lot, a conventional system will work. But the way the health department is looking at it now is they're putting a note on there, so if any future buyer buys that lot without us building on it, they've covered themselves to say, you will have to put ATU on it if you choose to put the septic system in that area. We will do site plans on almost every lot, and like I said, we don't believe there will be a lot of ATU and drip systems in the subdivision.
You as a builder ever are concerned about, say with 0.75 acres, just kind of going off of what he said. You have 0.75 acres, somebody puts a septic in, something goes wrong with that septic, and now they're going to the other part of that 0.75 acres to replace it because they can't put it in the exact same spot.
Right.
Are you ever worried that they're not going to be able to find another spot, and now you've got someone with a home that they may not be able to use that home, not because they can't make the payment like back in 08, but because they don't have anywhere to put the septic? Is that
So the health department requires us to do a 25,500 usable square foot of soils on the lot. It may take 5,000 or 6,000 square feet total to fit that septic line in.
Okay, I see.
So there's extra room. I mean, the 25,500, we'll put a driveway, we'll put the house on there, but then there's plenty of other square footage if there is a need for repair.
I got you, okay. That's always my concern, it doesn't seem like a lot of land. I've been places where they got a quarter acre, tenth of an acre lot, but they've got water and sewer, so I just wondered how you dealt with that.
Yeah, and this is all gonna be on public water, so we don't have to worry about a well in a 100-foot radius that you can't impede.
Okay.
Are there any other questions? And I don't know, I'm sure, Ms. Borson, you're one of the first ones, we're finally getting around to, asking for maintenance agreements and things like that. So I sure appreciate you taking care of that. I didn't expect it to be anything other than that. I appreciate it, though.
Okay, appreciate it.
Okay. Any further discussion or questions? All right, thank you.
Pretty stupid.
All right, with that then, so we're gonna entertain a motion then to approve the plat as presented here as a final plat review for the Woodbury subdivision. I have a motion.
So moved.
I have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any further comments or discussion? Seeing none, Commissioner Allen?
Yes.
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 All right, very good. I like the handshake that night. All right. Mr. Houston, please.
All right, sir, the next is a rezone request. It's Becky Eubanks. She's requesting to rezone her 5.9 acre property from A2 to RR to allow an additional home on the property that will be Miss Eubanks' home. The existing home would then become rental property. Property is located in map 28, parcel 5, on Williams-Wilson Road in District 1. The vote of the Planning and Zoning Commission was a vote of 7-0 to recommend approval of this rezone request.
All right, any questions for Mr. Houston before he? All right. So what we're gonna do is we'll give the opportunity, we're gonna allow the petitioner, if you'd like to say anything in addition to Mr. Houston, to support your position.
The house that I want to put on there is just for my retirement.
Okay.
It's basically trying to set up for when I can retire, so I'll have everything set and I'll have a nice place and an extra income coming in.
Okay. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna ask if there's anybody that would like to speak in opposition of it. I'll give you a chance, or anybody, after this, if you need to rebut anything, but is there anybody that would like to speak in opposition of this application? All right, not hearing any, and are you satisfied with it, and just let them vote on it? All right, well then we'll close that public hearing, we'll have a discussion amongst us, and, I'll open it to the commissioners now. The, request is to rezone 5.9 acre property from A2 to RR. Do I have a motion?
So moved, Chairman.
I have a motion and a second. Any further comment or discussion on this rezone? All right, Commissioner Strickland.
Yes.
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 All right, very good.
Yeah, very much appreciate
Good luck, Ms. Becky.
Mr. Houston, please. Like romper room here, Mr. Houston.
Okay, the next rezone request is, Lamar Adams is requesting to rezone his 8.45 acre property from A2 to RR for a division of 4 lots for his grandchildren. Property is located on map 47, parcel 73 west, I guess that's what dash W is, on Lim Edwards Road in District 5. The vote of the Planning and Zoning Commission was a vote of 7-0 to recommend approval of the rezone.
All right. Mr. Adams? Sir, would you care to say anything else in favor of this, or are you satisfied with that?
I am.
All right, all right. I'll ask, then, is there anybody here that would like to speak in opposition of this particular rezone? I feel like I need to tell y'all to spread out there, everybody's on one side. I don't mean to be disrespectful. Not seeing any opposition to this, I'll leave it. Mr. Adams, are you satisfied, sir? Anything else to add, or you want ready for them to vote on this? All right. We'll close the public hearing then and open up the business portion, and I'll ask for a motion then to approve the rezone of 8.45 acres from A2 to RR.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the rezone. Any further discussion?
Just a clarification, or if it needs to be in the motion itself, the private drive, let be designated per the plat, so any future separation or development on there, people realize that's a
Yes.
private drive and won't be conducted as such. Okay.
Okay. Any further comment or question? All right. We have a motion and a second to approve this rezone from A2 to RR. The vote is to Commissioner Bettis.
Yes.
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 All right. Very good. All right. Mr. Houston.
Okay, the next rezone request is, Silas Kinley is representing the owner, James Stafford. They're requesting to rezone approximately half an acre of her 43-acre property from A2 to RR to sell to Mr. Kinley to add to his adjoining property. Property is located on Adams Duncan Road in District 5. The vote of the Planning and Zoning Commission was a vote of 7-0 to recommend approval.
Kinley. So you're here, okay. Would you care to speak or offer anything in addition to what has been offered in favor of the motion? Okay. Okay. At this point, is there anybody present that would like to speak in opposition of this rezone? I'm not seeing any. All right. You satisfied with the vote, or would you like to offer anything? Okay. Hard to add something when there's no argument against it. Yeah. I'm sure our county attorney would tell you that's a smart move. All right. So if there is nothing else on that, we'll close the public hearing and the business portion, and I'll ask for a motion. We're going to rezone only 0.5 acres of our 43-acre property from A2 to RR.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second.
And I just have a question, just for Ms. Linda. Ms. Linda, will they have to, after they sell it and all this other stuff, will they have to do anything else? Will they be coming back and, or will this put it together so it's everything's ready?
They'll have to have a survey done,
Okay, that'll be the last thing I have to do.
survey and a deed, and that's
Okay,
it.
okay, just wanted to make sure that everything's situated. All right, thank you.
Any other question or comment?
I'd like, just to clarify that, the survey that is provided that shows the tract 1 where the house is and the tract 2, the 0.59 acres is coming off the Stafford property. It shows that the line is to be removed in there, so on that makes this a contingent zoning piece. So if the sale does not go through for some particular reason, that makes that zoning piece null and void. Is that correct?
Correct.
Awesome. No further questions, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Well, with that, we have a motion and a second to approve. The vote is to Commissioner Kirk.
Yes.
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 All right. Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Okay, the last thing on the agenda is the codification of the zoning ordinance and the subdivision regulations. As I understand it, even though it's on the agenda, the stormwater ordinance will be discussed a later time. So the planning and zoning vote was 7-0 to recommend approval of the codification of the zoning ordinances and the subdivision regulations.
Very good. And just a point of clarification, there is a pending item regarding a maintenance agreement. As it's presented, there is one though, that there is and always has been a requirement for a maintenance agreement. Up till now, what we're proposing in a subsequent meeting though will be to replace what we have with a little bit more specific agreement. So I just want to make sure everybody understood that we're not changing anything. That there has been a requirement for that maintenance agreement going in. All right. Anybody want to have anything that they would offer in support of this codification? No? It's a fair amount, so I would. We'll leave it at that. Is there anybody that would like to speak against anything? No.
And just to clarify, there's nothing new here that the commissioners haven't already approved, right?
I've checked and rechecked, it's all there.
Okay. So this is just putting it together.
That's right.
Anybody else last opportunity want to say? We'll give you an option speaking for it at this time. And seeing none, I'll ask the board for a motion to approve this codification of Madison County zoning ordinance, subdivision regulations, and the stormwater ordinance.
So moved.
Second. Wow, okay.
Derek and Brian.
Thank you. For our record, we like to keep all of that straight. So, all right, I have a motion and a second. Any further comment from the commissioners on this?
Sir. Thank you, Ms. Linda.
Thank you.
The vote is to Commissioner Doster.
Yes.
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 All right. Very good. We are through with that section. You're welcome to stay throughout the rest of it if you'd like. Won't be offended if you don't. Okay.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Folks, we have items 4, 5, 6, and 7 on our agenda as business items. At this point, we'll entertain statements and remarks from citizens on these 4 items. Any takers on that?
I was thinking about the Sanford Fire Department down there. That's one of the items you're in reference to.
Please, yeah, come on up, give us a name and a good address, please, sir.
My name's Bradley Floyd. I live 964 Pittman Matthews Road. It's the corner of Crab Apple Hall and Pittman Matthews. I've only lived in this county a couple of years, well, 3 years now. Love the county. I've moved from Jackson County up this way. Enjoy the small town hospitality of this county very much. Eat almost every morning at the Biscuit Express or somewhere close by, you know, Gina Bill's or something like that. And in the process of living here, I've gotten to know some of my neighbors, Adam and Steve Arnold, good folks, pillars of the community in that area. That being said, they've brought to my attention some of the issues that are at hand with the fire department over there that they've been trying to deal with. And one of those issues is getting a new fire station, fire hall, whatever you want to call it. One of the issues that they're having is getting financing on this fire hall, which when they brought that to me and just mentioned it in talking, I was kind of stunned. I was like, you've got an issue with financing on a fire hall. Yeah, well, it's a volunteer fire department. So these guys, they volunteer their time, and a lot of time at that. I mean, I live right across the street from Adam and Steve, and they're all the time going to a fire meeting, fire call, or something all the time, seems like. But when they brought this to me and they were telling me what an issue they were having, I thought, man, that's kind of crazy. You know, I know that there's not many people in the community that would volunteer their time, much less ask for things that they need to do their job, which they're doing for free, I might add, and be not met with open arms with that. And I know it's a lot of money. I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong, I understand it's a lot of money. But at the same time, when they went further into detail, explaining to me what they were asking for and what they were needing, they're not even asking for money from what I understand. They're just asking for someone to go on the note, or excuse me, not someone, but the county to go on the note for a building that would be used for the county, for the citizens of our area, which are part of the county. And that being said, it just seemed kind of odd to me. I just think Sanford community is part of the county, and I pay county taxes, and I think that part of my county taxes should go to the folks that are helping save my house if it catches on fire, or if I get in a car wreck or turn a tractor over on me or something of that nature. So I didn't really know how else to voice that except to come down here and let you guys know that I understand in business, and that's what all you guys are. Y'all are part of the business of this county. I get that. I run 2 of them. But at the same time, there's certain things that you have to look at and say, hey, we're a growing county, and especially that area. Hull's not very far away, and they're building stuff everywhere in Hull. I mean, it's crazy what they're building over there. So it's a matter of time that we're going to have to do it one way or another. And I don't know how many of you guys deal in the steel industry or the construction industry. I'm sure some of you know something about it, but in 5 years, it's either going to be really, really expensive to get anything done, or, you know, the economy might be so bad you won't have to worry about it. But we're hoping that the economy is this strong or stronger to where we do have to worry about it. So my take is if we could come together and come up with some kind of solution to where the county can back them, they're not asking for money, but just back them with a you know, a signature loan, you know, as far as that goes. And I have talked to some of the other fire departments and people like with Isla, and they said whenever they started that, they had to do the same thing, which years ago I could understand. But in today's world, to make individuals liable for something that the community is really should be liable for. It's kind of crazy as far as, as far as I'm concerned. So that's all I wanted to say. I don't know if it'll matter, but, I just, and if I can help in any way, I'll be more than happy. But, if there's a way that y'all can come together and make it work and help them get what they need to do their jobs. I mean, just the other day, Steve was leaving. I said, "Where are you going?" He was helping me work with some cows. I said, "Where are you going?" "I got to go get a ladder." I said, "A ladder? For what?" "Well, they have to test our ladders every year, and one of them didn't pass the inspection." Well, that ladder that he had to replace it with was $600 that they had to pay for. That's an expensive ladder. I mean, you go to Home Depot, I can buy a bunch of ladders for $600. But that being said, they're already paying their own way. So I'm not asking anybody to spend any money. I'm just saying, let's figure a way to go on the note with them or do whatever we can do to try to help them to help the community, because I don't want my insurance going through the roof, I'll be honest with you. And nobody else in the area does either. So that's pretty much what I have to say.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that, Brandon.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll be talking about it here very shortly.
All right. Y'all have a good day.
All right. You too. Anybody else wish to make a statement or remark at this point? All right. Well, then we'll get on with the old business. Was brought up before, which was the financing options for fire departments, and I understand there's still a reason that we postponed the vote, and some of the discussion was we're still putting that information together, as I understand it.
Yeah, from the last meeting to this meeting, we had 6 days, kind of a little tough to do that. But we're getting together. We actually have Leasing 2, which is a company that does fire stations, they do fire trucks, they do all kinds of stuff. We're talking with them. We're talking with ACCG. We have a meeting on Wednesday morning at 10:30 over at the fire hall. Talk to ACCG. If they can't help us, they have said that they would be more than happy to help us through the process, that kind of stuff. We're also going to talk to Wells Fargo and Bank of America. They have a little bit, they have a whole department that has enough money to do these types of loans and that kind of stuff. So we'll have some options for you guys. We're almost done with our strategic plan, our business plan that Commissioner Doster was asking for. So we'll have that to you hopefully by this following week, so you have enough time to look at it. Get in touch with me if y'all have any questions. I'll probably call and follow up with you guys just to let you know, or see if you have anything, any suggestions, things we can do. We really want to get this done, and so like I said, couldn't have everything together tonight, obviously to vote on, but we will be, like I said, next 10 days, and then we'll have something you guys can look at, and hopefully we'll get this thing voted on. Just a yes or no, so they can know which way they need to go going forward at the 25th, March 25th.
It is 25th.
At the 25th. So I appreciate you guys. Do you need a motion to put it on the agenda for the 25th? Or
I think we just had it as a discussion item tonight, so we're not voting on that. So
yeah, as long as we
we're
can talk
in the
about
discussing
it
mode tonight.
and do all that on the 25th, I would be much obliged.
So we will have that information before that meeting.
Oh, yes, sir, and plenty of time
Yeah.
to resolve it. Yes, sir. Plenty of time. So we've been working very, very diligently. Mike's give us some leads and things like that. We've got some people helping with the business plan and that kind of stuff, just so we can make sure that we have everything in a row for you guys to look at and make an educated decision about it. So
Very good.
thank you. I sure do appreciate y'all's consideration. Really do.
All right. Well, like I said, we weren't not going to be voting on it tonight anyhow, but it holds the door open for a few more weeks, and we'll see if we can get that information, take a look at it. Any other discussion on that at this point?
No, unless they get any more questions.
All right. On to new business. Each of you should have a copy as part of that packet, to amend the stormwater ordinance. Now, this won't happen tonight either, but we did want you to take a look at it. What the reason for actually including this, the discussion or the thought behind it was in an attempt to streamline or to make a little bit more uniform the products that we end up having to evaluate for compliance. We felt it was a little, it's easier for not only on the county side of it, but for the developers. They they'll see this application or this, not an application, but the agreement, they'll see it and we'll have every opportunity. It is not substantially different than one that might be in use already. All we're trying to do, again, is to, with all due respect, we're trying to limit having to get an attorney or a scientist involved to read it and make heads or tails out of it. So, and I think in time they'll start being familiar enough to where, it's something we'll know whether it meets it or not. So, and the reason behind this agreement, if I failed to mention this before, was a developer will come in and develop the property. They'll establish detention ponds and storm basins, drain basins, and when they pack up and leave, there's still a requirement that those be inspected, those be maintained, and very specifically with respect to detention or retention ponds, we want somebody to own those. We do not want to own the first detention pond in the county if we can help it. So, so this is just a way to have a chain of custody, if you will, as people move through. So, is there anything else? I encourage you to take a look at it. It's pretty, I say it's straightforward because I've been looking at stormwater stuff a lot, but I appreciate that's probably not on your reading list. But if you get a chance, I would look at it. If you've got any questions at all, and I can share with you that from a legal standpoint, I did ask Mike to take a look at it, and he actually did he updated and made a few corrections on it. So, and I believe it's it fits the bill, right? Yes, sir. Okay. Any questions on it?
I'm sure our attorney has probably caught these, but when there's a couple references in the maintenance agreement that talks about landlocked districts and sections, and being in a headright area, we don't have landlocked districts and anything east of the Appalachian River. And then the Exhibit C, the certificate of occupancy is issued by the Department of Community Development. Do we have a Department of Community Development, or is that occupancy? Is the CO issued by the building inspector? So if we could just, I think, check a couple of those items.
And that's exactly what this is. That's the reason for putting it in front of you, is to have you look at all of this and make sure that if there's something that is, we're in a business, in this case, of not creating a new document. This is a template. Sure. However, it was a closely associated template to what we have in the county. So those are things that we need to note and correct.
So this was modeled after something that exists?
It is, and it's well, and that's the beauty in that is it's been tested,
It's a model agreement that comes out of the Georgia Stormwater Management Manual, which the majority of the state is a landlocked district.
Yeah. Anything else? Any other discussion on that? All right. On item number 6. Discuss approving a beer and wine license application for Dogborough LLC. This application was, previously an application was submitted and denied, and I believe you have that information that was resent to everybody. This is a new application, and again, it will be for your vote at the end of the month, but if there's any particular part of that or item that you feel inclined to discuss or want clarification on, see what we can do tonight.
Sure. Rhonda, did we send out, or did you send out was there a lease or anything connected to this one?
Yeah, they are.
Everybody's got it. Could you send that to me too? You may have sent it to me, but I don't remember seeing it.
For the current one?
Oh, is
So
it
I
for the
gave
current?
that to everyone at their place, the current.
Oh, was there a new one submitted
It
with the
was the same
application?
thing.
Yeah,
It was
okay,
the same thing.
okay. It was just the same old lease that we'd seen before?
Yeah, it didn't really mention what you said.
All right. Okay, there you go, thank you. That's all right, I'll let you keep yours. It is the same thing, I've got it.
All right.
You'll email us later on.
I'll be glad to. Okay.
And again, by design, if there's anything that comes to mind after the meeting and you'd like further clarification or history or whatever, by all means, reach out. If I can help, if the attorney can help, whatever, we'll have to offer that. Is there anything else that needs to be brought up about that particular license tonight?
Chairman, when the attorney provides a legal opinion on that, and I realize you got some work to do, but I guess some clarification is whether, in my reading, I think the last one was denied and there was an appeal process. If there's anything in between, if we have to settle the appeal process or if it's just defunct by time,
Okay.
just
Sure, I'll
try to finalize that discussion.
Okay.
And I believe that was the circumstance with the first application, as it was denied and there was no appeal within the time.
There was an appeal, but there wasn't.
An appeal was filed, and I can go ahead and answer that question now, I'll still include it. Actually, the applicant had counsel, he contacted me and said they were choosing not to go forward with the appeal, so they dismissed it.
I'm just trying to figure out what changed, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Hopefully you can tell it doesn't. For it is, it is.
Yeah.
All right. More to follow on that then. Last item on our business is to discuss the special purpose localized sales tax. I provided, and I'm gonna ask this has been unvetted, so, this was for purposes only of at least trying to establish the timeline or sequence of events, and this is in my best non-legal, language here, but, we do know that, some of these things are given. The election, day is November 5th, 2019. In order to entertain a SPLOST referendum on a ballot in November, our Board of Elections has given us a deadline. This is, because as I understand it, and I don't have it written here, but this is really just to kind of highlight the actual requirements. August 23rd is when they need those required documents to include an intergovernmental agreement, a resolution, most specifically, to go forward with putting this on the ballot. There are actions once they receive this, and the reason there's so much time between the August 23rd and November 5th is this goes through yet another layer of, as I understand, state agencies, I don't know, ballot builders or some type. I would defer for a more accurate explanation of those, but I did want you to see that there has to be meetings with our cities, our mayors, and following the discussion, the intent is to negotiate a division, if you will, of how the proceeds will be split up. And then if we're unable to get consensus on those municipalities, I believe the threshold is 500. I don't know if that's changed.
That has not changed.
Okay, 500 citizens. So those cities, in our case, that's Comer, Colbert, and Danielsville, I believe is the case. And we'll try to get the actual numbers from our census updates that are out there right now. That they're not the 10-year, but we'll use those numbers. But and actually, I believe it does say you have to go with the 10-year, if I remember reading that right. I'll find that, but
The decennial census, yes, I think
yeah. Right. So I think it'll still be using, for purposes of this, the old numbers, so you may not actually have 3 cities, if I remember the numbers. I mean,
You're talking about 3 cities that would be involved in giving money from this farm?
involved in there has to be a consensus on the apportionment of that. So
Oh, I see what you're saying.
if they feel like, and I'm using these are very arbitrary numbers, instead of getting 5%, they want 8%. Well, if we can't have a consensus on those cities in the county above 500, then ultimately, as it states here, it will default to a 5-year collection period, right?
Right, 6 year if you have agreement, 5 year if not. All the cities' mayors are invited, but you're right, only those are necessary for the agreement. I'm actually looking for that language now, but that's right.
So anyhow, this, what you have in front of you is just, I know that the attorney sent, at least with the previous 2 SPLOST, notified each city in writing of the, of an intent to meet, and, there are times, you know, as you see, they're like not less than 15 days prior. There are certain, guidelines that we have to follow on that, but, at that meeting, there'll be discussion. Ideally, there's going to be some negotiating on the apportionment of the SPLOST proceeds. There would be, that would lead to an intergovernmental agreement. And then, and I'm not sure, you'll have to correct me, Mike, is there a resolution with that intergovernmental agreement?
That's right. So the intergovernmental agreement is attached to a resolution and submitted to the Board of Commissioners as well as the city councils of all the municipalities for approval. And actually, I just found the language. So at 6 years, if that agreement is good and you can do the 6 years, if you have an agreement with enough municipalities that they represent at least 50% of the total municipal population within the county. So that could be 1 or 2 of the bigger cities or more of the smaller cities.
Okay, no, that's a nuance, but a good point.
Yeah, so, yes, so then assuming they all approve that, and that's sort of up to the chairman and the mayors to have this meeting and come up with a consensus that they believe their boards and councils will approve. Assuming everyone approves that, it typically gets passed around between myself city attorneys for approval as a form, put on the agenda, approved by the board. It contains the request of the election superintendent to call the election. The election superintendent takes it from there. She'll issue the call at the appropriate time, get the ballots, get that. The resolution and the agreement will contain the exact form of the ballot, so that will be what she sends to Kennesaw State to have the ballots printed, and then you'll have your vote in November.
Of note, while the cities have their discussion, they're also, our current SPLOST, and I believe that was forwarded to each of you as well. There's a document as part of that offered the breakdown, if you will, and what it lists is not just the individual cities apportionment, but it talks to the different departments within the county. And again, these were all set by, at the last SPLOST, these were all, at least the departmental, was that the board that actually came up with the, as you remember?
So,
the departments.
Right. Well, I mean, it's all ultimately within the board's discretion. You would typically either as a whole board or with your chairman as your representative certainly solicit input from all of your departments as to what they need. Then it's going to be up to you, obviously, to figure out how to apportion that out. And you can, again, use more general language than you have in the past if you would like to give yourself more flexibility, or you can be very specific. It's up to you.
So as a question, the SPLOST being the language actually on the ballot being non-specific, but I guess you can sit down and identify projects that
Oh, absolutely.
that you would look at, but say, I guess then, as I remember from my finance class I just was in last Thursday, you have to go and say that those are subject to change or whatever.
That's right. It's you definitely want to have a solid project list with some priorities in order, but you do want to always say in association with that, it's subject to revision. Because, just go ahead and review everything I said before. If you say, we're going to set aside X dollars to build this building in this place with this square footage, you have to do that.
That's right.
Circumstances could change that make that not the best thing to do. Your only way out would be to hold another election and ask the voters to allow you to change it. Give yourself more flexibility in the ballot language, you don't have that problem.
So there is no requirement, though, to have any kind of public hearings or anything as far as soliciting input or whatever?
Correct, no public hearing requirements. Now, it's certainly not uncommon that you would have, I don't know if it's been done here before. I suppose it's probably been done here just in the meeting discussion that the public is invited to attend anyway. You always want your public involved and you want to educate people after the fact so they know what you're planning to do.
Yeah, so, yeah.
And it's a very good point too. The language, the actual language. So in answer to or in response to what you mentioned about being a little bit more general, a little bit more broad. It needs to be as specific as it needs to be. Meaning, there's a connotation that if it's just vague, a lot of folks are going to wonder why we're collecting money and not assigning it, So I think the real interest is in the way it's worded, though, is making sure that you're not, as he says, you're not handcuffing yourself when, again, choosing the right words might get you that, or gain you that latitude when you go to actually accomplish these. And then there's one last thing that will need to be considered as part of this is important as a project, and that is if for a larger capital project, for example, you may have a requirement. It's difficult to build on an installment plan when your money's coming in. So the opportunity to finance through a bond issue that would be paid for from SPLOST, the intent is still going to be listed. You're still going to identify the requirement. But as I understand it, you have to, down to the rates, to the term, all of that information has to be provided as part of that referendum and voted on before you would have the opportunity to take a chunk of collected SPLOST and go do something.
Basically leveraging the SPLOST dollars for or bonds.
That's right.
Yeah. So that's right, and so your underwriters and bond counsel typically will provide assistance for that at no charge, just to make sure you have that option of using them later if you want to. I represent other entities that routinely include that language to give themselves the option, but have never actually used it. So,
right. But they would give them the option.
But it gives you the option.
Yeah. And going back to my previous question, one of the things the reason I brought that up is my suggestion would be that as a board that we do have in one of our regular meetings or whatever, that we, once we sort of know the list, that we do have that and maybe have a PowerPoint presentation or something like that, making sure that we do say these are the tentative items that we're looking at, not to put ourselves in a box. But
I don't think it's a good idea to surprise anybody on this, and that's why I say I just want to make sure that you maximize. This is the fairest. If there's a fair way to collect taxes on anything, this is this is the least impacting on any individual, and you also get to parlay those that are passers through. They'll help you on your projects too. So
I normally wouldn't say this, but we
can't ignore the elephant. We have at the end of the table a commissioner whose professional day job is doing this every day in and day out. Mike, will you elaborate on what me and you were talking about, when we're out talking to the public and we are specific case law that's there that maybe would hold us to maybe something that one of the commissioners may say out the back, just to, you know, make them aware of what might come.
Right, so, under state law, you are not allowed to lobby your own constituents, the voters of Madison County, as to how they should vote on a referendum. So, you want to do everything in your power to make sure the citizenry is informed as to what you would do with SPLOST dollars and why you think that's important, but do not cross that line into promoting a yes vote.
Well, looking at the previous timeline for SPLOST, I think we gotta get going.
Yeah,
We gotta get that meeting set up and
That was my next
get,
question.
get
Do you have a target date, Chairman, about, you know, when you're trying to do this, or is there anything that us five up here can help you to get that accomplished?
Well, I think what you really want to do is you want to go ahead and get the other folks out of the way. You really want to entertain a meeting with with your mayors, and at least get that going. A discussion at some point, but you'd have to invite in the you mentioned underwriters. If you're going to have that as an option, you better get them in on it reasonably early too, so that they can figure the schedules and amortization. They got all, as I understand, all that has to be done. Is that correct? Is it? Have you been on that part of it though? You have. Okay. Well, then next time I'm going to sit over there and have you sit here. That's the way that needs to go. I believe in having your best person at the point. So.
But if we can help you, please reach out to us and let us know anything we can do to we need to call our well, I speak for myself. If you need me to call, you know, our mayors and stuff in our districts, please let me know, because I would love to help you, because I know this is a daunting task. That's about all I know about SPLOST, other than what I've read in ACCG's handbook and things like that, trying to educate myself, but anything we can do to help. Because this is very important, because this investment in capital stuff now saves future taxes later, you know, it's just, you know, property taxes and things like that.
Yeah. I will share, Mr. Chairman, that it is highly advisable to maybe mature your first draft into a schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a lot easier to see, and it's a lot easier for the other mayors, everybody else to visualize what needs to happen.
Noted. All right. Good. Is there anything else by way of just breaking the ice on this, though? We'll get the meeting set up, and I will assure you that I will bring whatever information comes back to the board. We'll figure that out. I think it's more efficient that one person facilitate all the signing and doing all that, but doesn't mean we can't talk about all that. So. Anything else, or we good on that till, we'll try to flesh this out, and, even though we're discussing this, there is no follow-up action at the end of the month necessarily. It's just an opportunity to go ahead and get the ball rolling.
We just need to get the ball rolling again. Typically the board's not going to vote on anything until we have a resolution. We talk to the cities, we have that ready, but we need to have a lot of discussion with the board, so you know what's coming when that gets here.
Good. All right. Well, very good. All right. Final stretch here. Roads update. And Commissioner Doctor, I think through my interpreter, I think I finally figured out what you were asking for by way of the Oconee has a TIM that I think identifies. They have only projects, but then they also have, and you can do this when you have a little bit more readily available cash. You can start planning separate projects that are prioritized, that may or may not fall under, you know, just regular road work. So I understand what you're asking for. We'll see if we can put something like that together. All right.
You can always go take a picture of Alan's board over there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, the most important update is it's raining, and there's a lot of dirt roads in this county.
And I guess I'd like to ask Alan, how is it coming with the dirt roads now? I mean, have we made any headway, or are they just, once you leave them, they're
coming
getting?
back around again, the ones we first started with,
Have washed out.
first of the year and everything else, they're getting the list. We have not made it all the way through the Harrison district.
I
We got
got you.
several up there that have not even got the first time. Now we're already back around to, we got one this afternoon from Elm Road. Potholes back in, I know y'all come out and scraped it last time, but it's just a work in progress and everything else.
Sure.
You can't get caught up with this rain. I mean, and we put out more gravel in the last 2 months. We have probably last 6, 8 months
Well, Alan,
of last year.
it's not just the dirt roads either, it's paved roads, because you can't fix potholes in the rain either.
No, that's
So, you know, it affects.
This rain is killing us.
Y'all just fixed Eustace Carter and they already called again.
If we were up there a couple weeks ago.
What about limbs, low-hanging limbs? I've had a bunch of calls on that.
We are working on that. We got a whole list from certain farmers and everything else that they travel combine wise or big equipment wise. So it's probably listed probably 20-something roads. We're trying to get on those. We're gonna try to get some local ones first, and that's another project we're working on. When the road's too wet, we're working on that stuff.
New Haven Church Road.
Yes, that's one of the top ones.
Do you get any communication from the Board of Education as far as like school bus travel roads?
Oh, all the time.
Okay.
All
So,
the time.
but they are contacting, yeah.
I think they need to get a few better drivers, in my opinion, but.
I got you.
That was an editorial comment.
They find out every year.
Yeah, we
not necessarily represent your state.
we josh with a lot of people. That's all it was, to josh.
I appreciate the update.
No, they keep us all updated on all the limbs or bad spots and everything else, and we try to get on those. We can fight with mail carriers too and everything else. We put down a load of gravel on Archer Road last week. Obviously, we didn't put it in the right spot. She called back this morning again.
Have you talked to everybody about the striping over on Diamond Hill?
As far as, we did get one more, somebody contacted John, he forwarded that to us. As far as I know, they are getting all those painted cars fixed.
Right.
That are nice and yellow, so.
Yeah.
And that's just due to the rain after they paint it and it coming off?
I think they were putting it down when it started sprinkling. If it was overcast, we don't have no control over that.
Right, I
That actually
understand.
went through DOT project and everything else, through Pittman Matthews, so we were not directly related to that at all. But that, like, it was the same company that did us a month and a half ago on Sprattle Mill Road.
Yeah.
Same company, but they say it happens all the time, and I do really believe it happens,
Right.
it happened to us
And-
twice.
And you do get the calls though, even though.
As soon as about 30 minutes after it went through.
All right, yeah.
If they didn't know to call you, they were calling us.
Yeah.
I know I got
So,
it.
I was about to send out that email to y'all, just in case y'all did have any calls,
Yeah.
how we will go about it and everything else.
All right.
Audie
Thank you, Alan.
Porterfield and Eastco Road. Have you talked to Audie Porterfield Road, Eastco Road? You know anything about those? Yeah.
Derek, Mike, I don't know.
Okay. Getting calls.
Potholes or Buddy, what?
Just impassable. Audie Porterfield.
I urge all of you, if you wanna ride, me or Derek, let us know, we'll be glad to take you out some of these. If y'all can ride them if you get a chance. Most of them are not.
Mm-hmm.
If you can just send a truck to Harrison to drive through it so that they can see you, it'd be great. I'm just-
We did get a thing from Chief William Road when we got that one fixed up over
Yeah,
there.
that's
over
good.
there for you and
That is
everything.
good. They do have some bad ones, but, yeah. I appreciate y'all. Thank you.
I'll share with you real quickly one other challenge that Alan and Derek have run into. DOT is widening Jones Chapel Shiloh Road. So they're adding 18 inches or 2 feet?
2 foot.
So they're adding 2 feet to either side, which we're grateful for. The county was able to get this through an all-system safety program. When they do that, though, they're actually putting pretty good asphalt down, and they're going deeper than the road is. They're going deeper than the road is thick. What that does is it creates an area underneath that paved surface, the road, that holds water. and it just crumbles the road. You get these that are, if you haven't ridden Jones Chapel Shiloh recently, it's a perfect example. What we may have to do is, at that portion of that road that is so compromised, we may have them go ahead and mill that and resurface that 1/10, 2/10 of a mile. Otherwise, well, it's just the road is coming apart, and you're gonna exacerbate it by trapping that water now underneath it, especially during the cold weather.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I was under the impression that they were gonna go back and top all that, so they're not.
Oh, no.
They would not.
No.
Not in the
They're
contract.
just adding those on either side.
Right, it was part of an off-system safety thing, is to widen, to clip the vegetation and to restripe. But the road, quite honestly, is degraded, and it may warrant consideration, you know,
Yeah.
so that you don't lose what you have gotten through DOT free. We won't lose that, you know. So, anyway, I just wanted to mention that's, you know, we weren't looking for another project to spend money on. That may be the most cost-effective way to do that.
Mr. Chair, last week, you'd asked about all system safety improvements and if we had any projects.
Mm-hmm.
Was there a time frame that we need to get those by? I just want to make sure
I don't know of a deadline, but I will tell
Deadline
you.
is August something, we have to have the final paperwork in.
I will tell you from our experience, you probably need to get that list in any time now within the next, I'm being truthful, about a month.
No,
Because of the iterative process, they keep coming back with more requirements.
There's other projects that talked about.
Yeah, and and, you know, again, I have limited experience, but it wasn't a great experience. I'll leave it at that.
that's fine, so we understand the expectation.
Right, and I'll see if I can get a deadline, an actual deadline from
So
them.
sometime in August and everything else, but it's a lot of paperwork, we just gotta go
They
run
are,
in on and everything
they
else.
are truly a first come, first served operation, I do know that, so get it in quick. All right, anything else on that? All right, urgent matters, anybody have anything that burning, I won't say burning. Any, pressing issue, okay, any need for executive session?
No, sir.
All right, it's just a handful of us, but, again, when you leave, go out that door down there, please. I'm trying to keep Steve from beating me up, I know he's listening down there, so. With that, I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
A motion,
Second.
Commissioner Strickland.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
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 We are adjourned, thank you all.